And we're back with another episode of Quarter Horse Customs. Today we're going to finish up the 387, get it back in the car, see if she takes off. Little Miss Eleanor here is going to help us today.
Mainly help relocate tools all the way across the shop. Right, Ellie?
Mm-hmm. Let's get started. First thing we're going to start working on today is the clutch. We were originally running a stock clutch, which ran absolutely fine on the street. I had very little problem street driving it whatsoever. I mean, besides the super high compression ratio and the race gas. Other than that, the clutch itself did fine. However, as soon as you try to launch with some RPM, this clutch just kind of laughed in my face and said, "Good luck, bud." So, I was talking to my father. He's going to let me borrow this guy. He ran it in his car. It's used, nothing fancy. We're just trying to get something in here. So, hopefully we can get this together, get this on, break it in, make a few hits of the track. Hopefully run in the 11 seconds or faster. That'd be really cool. So some basic things you're going to need when you're getting ready to install your clutch. You're going to need your clutch, disc, pressure plate, whatever bolts you're using. I'm just using some cheapo grade 8s. And you have two options. Option one, they give you this little plastic guy, and you shove it in your clutch and help align it to center. I don't like using this guy. He's got a little bit looser tolerances. What I like using is an old input shaft, because it's exactly what your transmission is going to have. It fits perfectly into your pilot bearing, and fits perfectly into the splines of the clutch. So this is what I use as an installation tool, and it hasn't let me down so far. And it also gives me just a little bit more leverage to position that clutch right where I need to be. Let's get started getting our disc and pressure plate on here, torque it all down, get our bell housing on, starter on, and then I'm going to bring you with us, and we're going to try out some Summit brand engine mounts. I've heard some mixed reviews on the 351 Windsor version. Oh, daughter wants to help with the tripod, so forgive us. We're going to try out their Summit brand engine mounts. Some people say they work great with 351 Windsors with some modifications. Some people say they don't work at all. Some people say they're for 302s. Well, they're the cheapest solid engine mounts I could find, so we're going to try to make them work. Worst comes to worst, we're going to run the convertible mounts again. What's left of them, because this torquey thing just shredded the one. But we're on a budget here, so let's get into it. I like to put my flywheel pressure plate bolts up on the intake just for ease of availability to grab onto them while I'm up here trying to hold on to 15 things at the same time. I'm going to go ahead and put just a drip of Loctite on there because I really don't want those falling out. When installing your clutch, it is very important that you make sure you have the right side on the flywheel versus the pressure plate. Most of the time they will say flywheel side on the flywheel side. This one doesn't. It might have used to back in the day. Again, this is a used clutch. We're just using it for now. But the flatter side is going to go against your flywheel. And the reason this clutch is a little bit upgraded, it's got these teeth. So instead of acting as one big disc that's going to slide and then grab, it's going to grab each individual pad a little differently. Hopefully give it that bite. We're just reusing our factory pressure plate. Hopefully it works. Like I said, this is just to get us by for now solution. Alright, now we just got a few bolts on there. It's kind of lined up with our pins. We're going to take our liner into the splines and into the pilot bearing. And now we can start tightening these guys down. You want to do it in increments around, bring the pressure plate in equally. So I don't even have it all the way tightened down. We're not even snugged up against the flywheel yet. And this guy's got nice, smooth engagement. So that should hopefully, as long as the transmission cooperates, as long as we get them splines lined up, it should slide right into our pilot bearing. It won't, but at least we can have some hope. Alright, now we got them all snugged up against the flywheel. We're going to grab our torque wrench and torque it to 35 foot-pounds. Kind of keep that pattern going, you know, you don't want to just bring one side down. You want to kind of bring them all around evenly. This could be tricky. You got to see if your flywheel is going to try to spin on you. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Probably will because we don't have any spark plugs in. Oh, here to find out. Life went ahead and put the sparkulators in there. So, it's not turning. And again, I'm just going to go around one more time just to make sure we got torque on all of them. I only do that because I'd rather go that one extra step and go, hey, I did do that, instead of have it together and go, did I miss that one? It's just kind of a peace of mind thing. Let me go ahead and take these bolts out and get our shatterproof bell housing over here. One thing I want to cover about the SFI bell housing, the reason they're so fun, is you got this. All those letters are bolts. Yep, all the way around this thing. It's bolted all the way around the bottom. Bell housing, bell housing. These two are tack welded in here so that way you can take them and bolt them in from the back. Bell housing bolt, bell housing bolt, extra. Yep. That way if this guy decides he's going to turn into a grenade, it all stays contained within the bell housing. So that's something you got to look forward to if you're running an SFI bell housing. If you're just running a standard aluminum one, obviously you're not going to have that problem, or an automatic. Alright, this is our SFI bell housing. Give me a second while I throw my back out carrying this thing over. It's already got our clutch fork and throwout bearing installed, so that saves us a little bit of time. All these bolts. Gotta go all the way around this bell housing. Now this last bolt here at the top I do not tighten down until it's in the car. I hook a ground strap up to here to ground the chassis to the engine. Now we get to snug down the 18 grade 8 bolts all the way around the SFI bell housing. Alright, we're going to throw our starter on.
Can't tell, might have had some heat issues. Yep. Long tube headers and starters don't get along. Here I think it was actually a battery issue, but we blamed the starter for a while. Now I like to make my starters completely disconnectable from the top. So I have a lug up on the firewall and just a regular blade connector for the trigger. That way I can just, leave all this hang down here and I'm not trying to fight the headers to get wires down in there in the car. Makes it a lot easier. You don't have to do it, it's just something I do. Makes it a lot easier. This one's off a 93 Cobra or F-150 Broncos. Later model stuff back in the 90s. They had the solenoid on here rather than having a starter solenoid. Again, we just used grade 8 bolts on this too. Nothing fancy, no ARPs or anything like that. Just the cheapest good enough bolts we could get. Wouldn't recommend using those chrome ones again because it's a big motor here. All right. Wow. This thing's looking really good. So these are just a Summit brand solid engine mounts for a Fox body. We're going to go ahead and try and see if maybe these will work. They say D and P, drivers and passengers. We're just going to try on, see maybe if we can get some washers to work. Supposedly with washers between the engine mount and the block, you can get it to actually clear your oil pan. Not 100% sure. Figure we'll try, save you guys some time. I really hope I can get these to work because the convertible mounts put the engine right where I wanted it, but they didn't have the strength. Yeah, engine was kind of sitting. Yep. Even with the torque bar. So. All right. Our trial engine mounts are on. Give us a few seconds while we change everything up. What do you think? Should we bring the Reaper on out over here or leave her where she's at?
I think we should bring it right here.
All right. Give us a little bit. We got to move some cars around. It'll take like 2 seconds for you. See, watch. And there we go. I wish it was that fast in real life. Nope. Hour and a half later. Here we go. 387 on the stand. Engine mounts. Let's see if she's going to fit with the engine mounts. Biggest concern, we are running a stock K member. So our biggest concern is our oil pan clearance. And then if the oil pan clears, we're going to go ahead and throw the exhaust on and make sure the exhaust clears in our made to fit floor pans. Maybe a little clearance when he's done with a hammer. But hey, it's a drag car. It's a 351 Windsor, stock K member. Honestly, if I didn't tell you that I took a hammer to the floor pan, you probably wouldn't even notice. So here we go. Let's get this thing up, bring her in. You guys are going to watch, make sure I don't snag on anything in here. Everything should be out of the way. So here we go. So I'm going to start setting her down. You guys watch over here. You know, make sure we don't hit the coil or the fuel regulator, which shouldn't be because it's way out of the way. Ease her in, which means drop it 10 feet and then go, oh crap. Anytime now. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Yep. How are we looking, guys? Yep, just doing up the firewall. It'll be all right. Spray paint's cheap.
Right. That should be good.
All right. Well,
You can come back in. Go back.
this is one issue, I guess, with this motor plate. Can't quite reach, so we're going to have to do some manhandling. Bring her down. Bring her back. Push her back.
Okay. You need to come back a little bit more. Your side in?
My side is kind of in.
Probably the next.
All right. Miss it?
More. Yeah. Needs to go back to his hair more.
All right. Whoop!
Wrong way.
Wrong direction. Maybe we'll grab this front hook here. Whoa! Unhook lies. Unhook.
Good.
There we go. That'll give us a couple inches of
Clarence.
bringing her up again. Whole car's down 3 feet. All right, there we go. Watch your fingers. Bring her down.
Okay, you're in.
All right. That definitely looks a lot better. We're going to go ahead and grab our washers and our bolts, and then we're going to lift her up with the jack and see how we look on the oil pan clearance, which I don't think we have any. Great. Might have to shim those mounts one more time. All right, we need a little more shimming.
Okay.
Upwards direction. I can just get a flathead screwdriver. If we learned anything about this torque bitch, it's not gonna fit at all. Nope, not even close. These engine mounts won't work at all because they're like an inch away, and I'm already hitting this. Well, this sucks. Want to try adding more spacers?
Sure.
All right. Well, we pulled her back out real quick. We need to put a few more shims between the engine mounts and the block. Not trying to bring it up a lot, just trying to not continue to bend my oil pan there. Luckily it was on the corner. So we're going to work on this real quick, and then we'll get back to you with an update on whether it works. Then we'll take it back out, if it worked, throw the exhaust on. We have 2 washers in right there between the engine block and the mount. We're going to stack it up to 5 washers and see if that'll get us the clearance we need. All right, here we go. We're gonna put it back down in here. Let you guys visualize the drop-in. 20 feet per second. Yep.
Dang.
Coming down. Funny part is this thing fits, this cherry picker fits right underneath.
Okay, okay.
The funny part is this cherry picker fits right underneath the K-member. Right until this motor's in, then it gets stuck.
Okay. Needs to be, yeah.
Let's snagglize on my side first.
All right. You're almost in on my side.
All right.
Actually, you're in on my side now too.
Sweet. How's our oil pan look?
Oh, you got clearance for days.
We're also a ½ inch away.
Okay. You have about an inch of clearance.
And look it. God damn, this thing just drops like a sack of potatoes.
It's a heavy motor.
Guess what? We are still on it.
Seriously?
Seriously.
We can't really put any more water in, can we?
I only have one more set, and I am on it.
Gonna relocate all your tools now.
Strategically, or just localize it?
Talk about it.
Time to undo these bolts.
Did she take?
All right, so here's our problem. Bring you guys on down in here. Oil pan is sitting right there in that big purple line on my manual rack and pinion. So I'm gonna do the completely wrong thing here, and I'm gonna put some relief into it. So I do not recommend doing this, but out of necessity for solid mounts and drop mounts, and that thing being a pain in my ass and in my way all the time, I'm just gonna help it out a little bit. Alright, we're back in here. I did notch out just a little bit. I didn't want to go crazy, just enough to clear the oil pan. Running solid motor mounts. If something still twists in the motor mount department, and I do end up hitting the oil pan, well, frankly, I got bigger problems because that means something's really broke, like the boss on the block to hold the mount or the K-member. So that should be enough to give us enough room. Let's go ahead and get the headers on here and get the 387 back in, torquelize it down, and see if we can get this thing hooked up to try to start it. All right, exhaust, my favorite part. We did use ARP bolts on the exhaust, and it has nothing to do with strength or, you know, looks or, hey, I just want to spend the money. It has everything to do with the fact that that bolt head is super small, and on a header, oh, that is a damn lifesaver. I'm going to go ahead and take these, get them all laid out on the front of the car here, put all the Loctite on there, because trust me, you want Loctite. And I always end up forgetting. I always use 1 or 2 starters, and I'm like, well, shoot, now I'm halfway through, and I don't have Loctite on them. So I'm just going to go ahead and nip that in the bud for right now. All right, for headers, well, I might have alleviated my wife of her long tube headers. Mainly one, because they suck on her car, and 2, I wanted them. They're just some BBK long tube 302 headers. For exhaust gaskets, we got these guys from Jegs. They fit the BBK headers pretty well. They're only like $30. And these were part number 210 251. They're a dual bolt pattern, so it fits your aftermarket heads really well. And $30. I mean, I'm not paying $50 for a set of BBK. The only downfall is they are that, I don't know how to describe it. They are that really crappy gas material that leaves the like carbon layer, I guess you would call it. It's the only thing I don't like about them. Cut out the gaps in between each tube. There was a solid piece here. Cut them out to make each one individual, just to help keep it all sealing flat. Instead of having to worry about one big surface, you just have to worry about each individual pipe sealing against the head. Well, it's 3 hours later. Had a few snafus, got distracted, side job, this, that, and next thing. But here we go, finally. Hopefully, maybe. Are we sure? No? We're there. Maybe. We're gonna throw this in here. Hopefully volatilize it down. Hopefully clear that rack and pinion. If not, well, we're just gonna... Yep. Looks great. Clearance is good. Yep. Way, a lot of room over here. Yeah. Oh, for that. Yeah. We're just gonna look away on that. Wife's tired of freaking waiting. She's gonna shove this whole thing right down in here.
Why is it going that way?
Wheels are backwards on the cherry picker. Yep, bring it in.
I tried to watch. Oh, I'm trying to be able to get this in.
Alright. That's the fun part. We gotta put this in now with the headers. Now I think about it, load leveler might have been a little easier. But anywho's.
Okay, you can keep coming. Hoping they clear.
Yeah, me too, because I'm getting like really close to the oil pan up here. Hurry up!
There we go.
Yep. Who needs a load leveler when you got a back?
Is that one? Yeah.
It's a good thing I just freshly cleaned this engine bay. Oh! Shit.
There it goes. What it hit?
Well, I'm not going to edit that out. You guys, it happens. There's a lot of crap going on, and, well, arm was just in the right way. But we're going to continue throwing this in.
What happened?
The alternator bracket bar decided to act as a pivot point off the hole here and just whoo.
Okay. We're almost cleared the rack opinion. Nope, we're not.
You know, if anybody could design a cherry picker, maybe that has like a down bar, so you can just be like thump, 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 and go down. Man, that would be
Up
nice.
a little bit and try to show it back over. There we go.
Speedo cable as you get out of the way.
I know, I moved it up there.
There we go.
I'm shoving a Windsor in a box pocket.
It'll fit!
Hey,
See?
careful!
Someone design this, please!
Good news is I think you hit the button. Okay.
I don't... Oh, we're on the oil pan.
Yeah, you can go back and look at the program. Alright, okay. Okay, that should be clear right there.
Whoa!
Oh,
Easy! Easy!
my side's gonna line up.
Holy crap, I'm in the hole.
Here, put your nut on.
I can't put nut on in front of people.
Come on.
It's not in the hole yet all the way. It's just the tip.
Well, mine's not the hole anymore. My bolt's stuck.
Ah, hang on.
Now I'm in.
Yeah, me too. What do we break? Assessing. Lugging around. I should have painted that while it was out. Well, too late now. Bolting, holding washers, losing nut. Yeah. Anybody seen the 19mm? Ellie says she has. Good news is, you know, in terms of clearance from exhaust to firewall, there's none. Never has been. Okay. Well, that should be one. Do we even want to? I don't even want to. Do you want? You guys want to go down there? And look, I might send you guys down there. I really hate that clearance. Maybe, you know, we should have named this motor Clarence, because all you do is clearance. Clearance this, clearance that, clearance here, hammer that, smack this, bang that out of the way, clearance it, grind it, cut it, grind it, grind it, grind it, grind it, grind it, grind it some more. I still like calling it the bow tie buster though, so I don't think that name's gonna change. Maybe we build another one. Name it Clearance. Wife wants to cherry pick her off of her bumper. So you just let go of the motor. The whole car drops down. Like 10 feet. Alright, I guess we'll go down there and work on it. You guys let me know what you see down there. Do we have oil pan clearance? Good enough. I'm gonna run it. Yep. Looks good enough. Well, there we go. 387 stroker is in the car. And I do like the solid mounts. Because, yeah, last one, she just flobble, 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 flop. Alrighty. Let's get ready for some of the other fun stuff to do. By the way, when I say clearance for exhaust to firewall, I mean there is nothing. Oh, that one's almost touching. Luckily, that one back there has been hammered on. Sweet. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get our underdrive crank pulley put on here. Again, huge shout out to my buddy. He made me this nice shim, you know, out of a old pulley. Just because the way the 2.3 water pump pulley lines up with it. Needed just a little bit of a space, and this guy ended up being just right.
Alright, so this is a water pump pulley off a 2.3 liter. We didn't want to spend the extra money on a really expensive pulley for this, considering that we put a standard rotation water pump on here. So, had this on the shelf and it worked. So, why not use it?
Also got to remember we did the leads on, well, AC, power steering pump, smog pump, just running a water pump and an alternator. Thinking about going with an electric water pump, kind of 50-50. And there's pros and there's cons. So let us know down in the comments. What do you think? Electric water pump? I think our alternator could handle it. It runs the electro fans just fine.
Really not running a whole lot.
I mean, whatever, this car runs an ignition box, electric fans, gauge lights, headlights, tail lights.
I think you'll be fine.
Brake lights. There's the bare minimum. Oh, electric fuel pump, but that takes like 5 amps. Well, while she's working on that, if you remember back when I was talking about the bell housing bolts, there is a ground that I did decide to put back in the car just because it was very useful. This ground here goes to the bell housing bolt there to the engine block and grounds the block, and then I have another ground from the frame rail down there to the bottom of the block. That way the block is completely grounded. Most of my dash wires are running up to a bolt that runs through here to this ground wire. That way everything is just kind of tied into the same ground. I really didn't want to risk having, you know, maybe the chassis is good enough to ground. So I went to chassis and something else on most of my grounds, and well, it's worked out pretty well so far. But on Fox bodies, even stock ones, this ground cable is here in most Fox bodies, and it is important for most of your electricals inside your car. So make sure you have this hooked up. If I don't hook it up now, I'm gonna forget.
What was I doing?
Oh, yeah, that's right. These are my water temp sensor oil PXFIs. I like to be sneaky about them. I like to run them through the intake and sneak them out. That way you don't see them as much. I really don't like seeing a whole bunch of crap in my engine bay. So, luckily with this single plane high-rise cheapo Speedmaster Typhoon Hurricane Air Whirler 17,351 cast in China, I can just run this stuff right through here. I'm going to run down underneath because wife did point out that maybe want to make sure with different engine mounts that we're still clearing on the exhaust. You know, my whole 18 inches of dumps. Oh, yep. Throw out the back. Oh yeah, we're perfect. Beautiful. It's going to be a pain in the... Hey, you're not supposed to be down here.
We only had a lift out here. Once we get power out here, what's stopping us from moving it?
What?
Once we get power out here, what's stopping us from moving it?
Anchors?
Get the anchors in.
Yeah, everything down here looks great. Sweet. It does look like a pain in the derriere to put the transmission in without having adjustability on the motor mounts. Really easy to take it out when the motor mounts are completely shot and just fall out.
All right, for a radiator, we spent a whole lot of money on this.
You don't got the wires.
I forget how much we spent. I think it was like $120 for this radiator. 3-core, eBay special. Pretty much the cheapest one I could find. I actually negotiated with the guy. He wanted like 150 at first. I think I got him down to like just under 120.
I think that's right.
With shipping. I've heard a lot of things about the eBay radiators. Not a lot of them go bad. So I was like, hey, we need something to really cool off this Windsor. And then, you know, especially after we stroked it. The mechanical fan did great going down the racetrack. But as soon as you hit the end of the racetrack, kind of let off. So we went ahead and went with the electric fans that we had laying around from a trade. So for carburetor gaskets, we just went on J's and just got the cheapest ones possible. And then I am running a 1-inch 4-hole spacer. That way when I do go and run nitrous, I already have the hood clearance and the carburetor already runs as if there was a spacer there. So I don't have to worry about changing a whole lot because basically I'm just taking this out and putting a nitrous plate in. And more atomization. And the topping of this sweet cake is our 750 Brawler double pumper. Man, if any of you think that doesn't look good, then I'm sorry, because it is awesome. This was one of the bigger things we spent some money on, just because the easeability of being able to A, make sure we found a double pumper, and B, it was pretty much ready to go right out of the box. You need a little bit of tuning, but hardly any at all. Now, if you are planning on racing, you will need to find some kind of bracket like this to have return springs per tech inspection. I just went on to Amazon, bought the cheapest one I could find. It said Ford. I'm lying little a-holes. I had to modify the crap out of this bracket. I can post more about how I did that in case you're wondering how I did that. But that was also before I was running an aftermarket cable, because originally we were running a stock throttle cable, so I had to modify to fit that. Now I had to modify my modification to run this aftermarket cable because the stock cable was just a little bit too tight, and it was giving it a throttle I wasn't supposed to. This is just a cheap coolant reservoir got out of Apocalypse. Oh. All right, that's the only hint you're gonna get about what that car is over there. That's it, no more. That's it. Anyway, did some real heavy modification here. I had to make a bracket over here to hold this. Just went and found an old TV mount for the wall and cut the top off of it. Had plenty of selection of holes that could line up with where I wanted this to position. You guys got me. Let me slip up. Not gonna happen again. Is it dark out?
Yeah.
Where'd the sun go? All right, well, I think right now we are at a good stopping point for a minute. The doctor is hungry. And if I don't feed it, it will eat me. So, I'm going to go feed the weef and the doctor. We'll come back. We'll finish some symbolized.
Do you really want to show them? You could spoil it for them.
Give me a sneak peek. They already seen it in the first video, if they watched it.
Did they watch it? Does anybody? All right, guess right now. What's on the air cleaner? Holy Moses, that's dirty. Anybody? Guess right now, right now, right now. Another thing, remember, you don't want to go.
You don't leave this video to go look and see.
You don't want to go full torque on these. You just want to get them nice and snug, because you can crack that aluminum base. And then you got a vacuum leak, and you ruin your carburetor, and well, Jake's and Summit make more money. Well, there we go. We call her the Bowtie Buster 387 because, well, fuck your LS. Little 6.0 liter LS.
Not respectfully.
6.4 liters of badassery. That's what we have right here. Well, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we're going to go ahead and hook up the fuel pressure regulator. She'll put the alternator in while I'm putting the transmission in. Slap the drive shaft in. All right, well, it's morning. Still cold as crap out. Thanks, Ohio. We're starting to fill up some of the water in the radiator. I'm going to make sure we have no leaks. So far, so good. And today's the fun stuff. Gonna put the transmission back in, cross member, drive shaft, line the clutch up, clutch fork, clutch cable. Don't really know how much of that stuff I'm gonna bring you along for, because mostly annoying stuff. Then we gotta wire up the electric fan, put the shifter back in. I'll bring you along for the shifter because that's kind of cool. Then we can put on the plug wires, start setting timing, make sure we're in neutral. Maybe start cranking on this thing. See if we're gonna run. I really hope so. After we get this stuff in, we do have some extra things I'm gonna go ahead and put in this vacuum reservoir. Probably hide it up here in the fender, and then we got a line lock. It's the Jake's brand. Might throw that in as long as everything starts up and does good. I need that for my burnouts. She doesn't quite get all the water off the tire. She's coming out of the burnout pit. I want to fix on that. But without further ado, let's get into starting something. Probably transmission. Yay. All right, let's get down here and
Get dirty.
get the transmission in. I'm going to crawl underneath, and my wife's going to drag the T5 over, which is sitting on its side for some reason, probably pissing out transmission fluid. All right, here we go. Let's get this T5 up in here. And the fun part is, now that we're running solid engine mounts, we don't have the play to bring the transmission downward. So we're just going to have to shove it up in there. Hope to God that that throwout bearing, it's that guy right there, stays right where it needs to be, because if that slips off and gets underneath the forks of the clutch fork, then, well, that's just a nightmare. Hey, look, there's the wife.
Up. And up.
Up more.
Hang on. No, we're too far up. Oh, there we go. Hey, did we just... Did I see the transmission?
Got the bolt right here.
Something's wrong here. This thing just like slid right into place. Now, I have never had that happen without something being wrong. So, I'm going to be looking through this inspection hole here that's hidden by the headers. Make sure that that throwout bearing is still in the clutch fork where it's supposed to be. Most likely that's not going to be in place. So, let's kind of hope it is, because I really don't want to take this thing back out, because I know when it goes back in, it's not going to be my friend. Oh. Well, I think it's in. This is officially the quickest and easiest T5 install I've ever done. Apparently, the solid motor mounts are actually better for installing a transmission, because I guess in hindsight it doesn't move. Huh. You're getting solid engine mounts, and you're getting solid engine mounts, and oh, I'm not talking about that one yet, because that's a secret. Can I get one for the top?
Well, you see, I grabbed a shallow well.
Yeah.
And it's a 1/2 inch gauge. So.
Well, this is a one small snag on the whole having solid motor mounts. This bolt really sucks to get to now. Yep, shoulder crack. That must be tight. Speedo cable. Bring it around. We're gonna leak fluid. Ah! Oh, we're not. Well, save on some money. Apparently, clay makes a perfect plug for your Speedo cable hole. We used to have a rubber plug somewhere, but probably got lost in the other shop. No, that never happens. Now, I don't have to fill my trans because I left all the fluid in it already. But just to tell you, there's two plugs on the side over here. They should take a 3/8 ratchet. You have a lower one and a top one. The lower one is to drain your fluid. I'm not going to drain on that because I'm probably going to see some stuff I don't like. So, if I don't drain it and I don't see it, it's fine. Right? That's how that works, right? Yep. So, when you go to fill it, the easiest way I've found is you take the top plug out and just let it sit. Put an oil pan down here and go up to where your shifter mounts in and just start pouring the fluid in. And it'll fill in, and then once it starts pouring out that top hole, go ahead and plug on that top hole. And then you're full, and you don't have to sit here and try to pump fluid up into the top hole here. There's a lot of debate on what you run in a T5 in terms of fluid. We have a world class. Actually, I think this is an SN95 V6 transmission. Nothing's done to it, like at all. All I did was swap the input shaft to a Fox body one from Summit. It was like 60 bucks, I think, for the input shaft. Got the cheapest bearing I could off of O'Reilly's. Put the bearing in the oven, put the input shaft in the freezer, and then I just dropped it on. So once that's in, you just put your input shaft in, and you gotta play with the needle bearings. Don't lose those. I might make a video on that if that's something you guys are interested in seeing, because, well, let's be honest. This guy's probably not going to continue holding in, and I'm probably going to have to do another one. I got 2 more T5s over there. We got to go into something. I think we got 4 T5s and 4 cars, so we ain't going to have no spares. I will say one of the nice things this year is it's not moving a whole lot. Your cross member here, you're running a stock one because you don't want to pay for an aftermarket one like me. The bigger hump goes on the passenger side. The small hump goes on the driver's side. I always forget that and have to end up going back and looking at one of my other cars.
You ready to line her up when I pull her out?
No.
I'm gonna put this down about right here.
I'm stuck.
Ready?
You're gonna want to get your hands up there, the rag up there.
Ready?
Yep. Go, 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 go. We need fluid. Yep. Definitely gonna have to buy some fluid. Alright, that thing slid in way too easy. Transmission slid in way too easy. What's gonna hold us up here? Come on. Just tell me now. What is it? What are we missing? I am going to go ahead and start getting the rest of the bracket tries for our drive shaft safety loop here, because that takes 3.5 days to put in. And then you guys are going to go back with Jordan and put in the drive shaft into the differential. And then we're going to put on our exhaust tips, install our short throw shifter, and maybe we'll try crankalizing on this thing. Alright, so here's our drive shaft safety loop pieces. These are fun to get in. Really, really fun. Yep. I know I'm not running the speeds required to have it yet, but better be safe than sorry, because if this drive shaft was to fall out, it would pick up on the front of the car and launch me up in the air, and well, that's just not any fun at all.
Alright, so we got the drive shaft up in here. Did that off camera because I struggle with it a little bit. And I put some Loctites on these bolts because we may or may not have had drive shaft bolts come loose. And, well, lots of vibration.
Every time.
Make sure you have your transmission in neutral. That way you can spin it around in circles. And probably should make sure the rear end's not in park. Parking brake's pulled. I think you have it pulled.
Yep. I'll get it.
The 12.12 millimeter.
Milliliter?
Millimeter. I'm going to go back through and snug them back up. I snug the rest of them up to make sure that they're good and tight. That's good. That's good. If I can get on that one. Perfect. All right, drive shafts in.
Well, here we go. We're going to go ahead and get our short throw shifter installed. We're going to, use the right gasket. And by the right gasket, I mean the right stuff. 90-minute gasket maker, because we're impatient and we don't have time to wait around. Make sure we wipe off our seal surface with some brake clean. And I'm running a eBay short throw shifter. Actually, I think it's Amazon. Whichever one was cheaper. And it actually has worked out pretty well so far. Only had one issue at Norwalk. It did come loose. I didn't put any Loctite on the adjusters. So it locked me out of third gear. Got back to the pits. We tore it apart. Put it back to where it's supposed to be. And we were good to go. I'm just coating some RTV around here. Probably way too much. But my tip is clogged, so this is the optimum time to fill it, because you can just pour it right down in this hole. Another thing that's important to remember is make sure this bushing is down in here. If that bushing comes out or falls out, it's not a good day. Your shifter will be really loose. And it's not a good time for anybody. There we go. Short throw installed. Now we just got to finish up in the engine bay. We should be able to maybe try to crankleize on this. See, maybe it should fire up, maybe run, maybe. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put our exhaust on. That way we're not just running open-headed. And by exhaust, I mean our 18-inch extensions with a slight turn down. There's our exhaust. Some high-class dumpelators. Let's just do a quick run through some of the electricals here. Key on. Any fires? All right. Electro fans. Fuel pump.
Getting fuel.
Fuel leaks.
Don't see any.
Fuel leaks.
I don't see any.
All right.
Well, your front bowl needs a little bit more fuel. It's not coming up anymore. You might have a stuck float. Well, you have any in your back. You might have float stuck.
Alright, we'll see what happens. We'll give a little tap on those.
Oh, it's leaning. That's gonna be why. That's when it's under a half on this side.
Alright, let's go ahead and give it a little bit of squirt. Yep, that's too much. Way too much. Alright, clear! Neutral. Bring the ignition. You all heard that? Yep, you heard it. You heard it, I heard it, you heard it. Yep, okay. All right. We got thundering. We're thundering. Thermostat opens and sucks all the fluid down in there. Then it's going to heat back up. Thermostat's going to open and suck all the fluid, so we got to be right on top of this thing. Well, that's going to be a wrap for this episode. The 387 is done. Runs, drives. Got a few little nuts and bolts to check out on it. And then maybe we can get it to the racetrack next week. Hopefully they're open. If not, we'll figure out something else to do. Like maybe we'll take it up and get it weighed. Figure out how much she weighs in the Fox here. Well, do not worry. We have plenty more content coming with the 387. Nitrous, TKX swap. We possibly might be moving this motor to a different chassis. Might be putting a Turbo 302 in this chassis for the wife. Don't know yet. Not 100% sure. Depends on how things play out. So definitely stay tuned because we have more to come. Thank you.